Yeah.
Well, Grand Rising, ladies, and if there's a few gents out there, Grand Rising to you as well. This is Grand Rising Elizabeth. Today is the 4th of January in 2023, and we say that 2023, I am free. We are free in 23. We also say that there is no negativity in 23. It's all about positivity in 23. We also say that it's about me in 23. Ashe?
Ashe.
Ashe. So why don't we just start off with as Mama Het says, roll call, and just, just greet each other and greet yourself and greet the day that God, because it is the day God has made, and we will rejoice in it. We are ready for this day, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, let me see. You know what? I'll make it easy. I'm just going to go across and call out your name. That way we don't have to wait. And if everybody can just go ahead and unmute themselves, and we'll start off with the beautiful yellow and black Bridget.
Good morning. My name is Bridget. It is wonderful to be here, to be amongst my sisters. It's an amazing way to start the day. It is, I look forward to it every morning. And although usually I am working during this time, and I'm listening, but this morning I made a slight detour. I got something I got to do this morning. So
yes.
fully here. So yeah, they got an email from me last night of, I got something I got to do today. I'll be back about a little after 10.
All right. Ashe. Jackie, Grand Rising.
Grand Rising, everyone. Just happy to be here with all of you today. And I'm so glad that Bridget has agreed to be our special guest today, and who's also a sister within the Elizabeth circle. And she's going to be our special guest as well. So I'm grateful for that. And just want to say hello.
Yes, and speaking of first day, this is your first day being a co-host.
Yes.
My first day, yep. But like I said,
And
I'm clear my function. I'm Ed McMahon.
Yes.
So we're waiting for the host to get here. I will support her and laugh at her jokes and laugh at her talks, but no, I'll support anyway I can. So thanks.
Yes, Ashe. We're looking forward to your sharing and bringing forth. Today is Wisdom Wednesday, so we're bringing forth a lot of wisdom. Mama Het is very spontaneous sister, so yeah. So we're really looking forward to. So welcome, Jackie, to this first day. Looking forward to all that you shared that I know of you so far. There is a lot of wisdom there. So, thank you for accepting to be a part of that, a part of us in that capacity.
Thank you.
Mama Evelyn, what's up?
Grand Rising. Glad to be up today and feeling better today.
Yeah.
And just looking forward to now I have to really, since you're gonna give me a date, I got to get moving on that project. But yeah, glad to be up and about.
Yeah, you can see your energy. Yeah, you can see the perkiness in your face again, which is always so welcome, Yeah, and you don't have the big blanket over you and stuff.
No, it's not cold today.
Yeah.
Cold today.
Reverend Omani Grace.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
Grand
Grand
Rising
Rising.
sideways. You know, she's sideways all the time.
I can't charge my phone.
It goes with her personality. She's always on
Right.
10. So, we never know which way God is going to have her go.
Exactly. She might be standing upside down. We just have to go with her.
Yeah. Okay, but I just want to acknowledge that I'm here on time. I'm getting ready for tomorrow.
Okay. You can practice. And Star.
Grand Rising, everyone.
Grand Rising.
Really wonderful. Looking forward to our special guest. We had a wonderful time this morning in our read, and God was showing me something during the read that surprised me about someone that I have no relationship with whatsoever, besides the fact that he is my brother. So I was just wondering why. So I'm not wondering why no more. I'm just listening to whatever it is that God wants to show me in reference to him, because there is a reason. God knows. I don't have to know. Just be obedient. So
Ashe. Ashe.
Ashe.
Danielle, you want to greet us this morning? I know you at work, so if you can pop
Yeah,
in.
if
pop
I'm
in.
Grand Rising, I'm not at work yet. I'm getting ready to head to work. So I'm getting ready and I was excited. Usually I come on while I'm at work, but I was like, let me travel with the Elizabeths this morning and see how that goes. But I had a wonderful time with you guys last night.
Can
with
we
our,
see a little face? You're so beautiful. Can we just see a little bit of beauty?
Thank you. I just
Alright.
didn't want you to
There
see me.
you go.
I'm getting ready, so I'm a little all over the place. But no, I had a great time in our enrichment session yesterday, and what is it? I'm enjoying watching us grow and flourish and get our movement out there. And oh my God, you look gorgeous, Bridget. Not say you don't look gorgeous, but you always look gorgeous. Like it's just around this
She's
morning.
gorgeous, sir.
Thank you.
And I'm excited. There's like a lot of creation going on right now. I didn't even know that was going on, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is happening. So yeah, I'm thoroughly excited. And it's all because I'm around that energy almost every single day. So I want to thank y'all and appreciate all of y'all, and let's get this going.
I say, so I do have a question for us, based on what Star had shared. How does God speak to you? How does God, thus saith the Lord, my child, I am your God. Listen to me, open your ears, sit your butt down. How do you know when it's God for you? And I'll just go right on through. Bridget?
The first thing that's a part of my daily prayer. Quiet every voice that is not his, and give me the wisdom to know his voice and what is not. And that is what I walk with. The one thing that I laugh about, years ago, someone told me, thou saith the Lord, blah, 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 blah. God talks to me in plain language that I can understand. He meets me where I am. So he speaks to me the way that I would talk to you is the same way that he talks to me and how he speaks to me. And I really have made a practice to follow that. Another huge part of my prayer every morning is give me an obedient heart. a heart that follows you,
Mhm.
ask for his leading, you lead me. Because if you lead me, you will lead me on the right path. If I lead myself, I am liable to go off a cliff.
Yes.
So you lead me, I will follow. I'm like a child. When your parent says, you know, we're going down the block and around the corner, you don't keep going, why? You trust them and you go and you follow that leading. And so that is something that I try to make a practice, sorry, Mama Hat, of doing in my life. It is something that I really work at to make it a daily practice to follow where he leads and whatever my assignment is to do. Which is why yesterday when Mama Hat said, and this was late last night, would you come on? And even though I said yes, in my mind, I was like, I didn't say that. What do you mean yes?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not prepared for that. But if it was placed in me to say yes, okay, I said yes, roll with it. I started trying to script it out last night. I couldn't script it out. I have to go where the spirit leads, and however this conversation goes, it goes. And that's where we go. So that's me, and that's kind of how I hear him.
Ashe. It reminds me of that song, I'll say yes, Lord, yes, to your will and to your way. I'll say yes, Lord, yes, I will trust you and obey. When
Yes.
your spirit speaks to me, with my whole heart I'll agree, and my answer will be yes, Lord, yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that is one of my favorite songs, is that I have sung through trials and obstacles and storms and I don't know, and
Yeah.
I'm lost, and if you don't take over this is going to be a disaster, or even in this is amazingly great. It is something. It's been a song that I've sung a great deal, and it stays on my list.
Yeah. Ashe. Mama Evelyn.
Oh, all sorts of ways. It wakes me up with something on my mind. It's a soft voice that answers the question. Sometimes it's a song. Sometimes it's something someone says on the Elizabeths. That's a message to me. It could be in my daily reading or a card that is drawn. It shows up. His Mother, Father, God's voice shows up everywhere, all day, all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and when I'm hard-headed and don't listen, then, they get a little louder. And I think you read me right when you say, if you set a deadline, then I have that deadline on in my consciousness and will go toward that. So yeah, accountability is one of the two things. Accountability and patience are the two things forever in rotation for me to learn.
Thank you. Teresa.
I was over here asking the Holy Spirit to let the words come through. As Miss Evelyn just said, is a voice, small voice, and it's usually in my voice and a feeling that's associated with it. And a variety of ways. And it's based on the lawfulness. There is a law, the universal law, the Kabbalion. that's a guide as well. The law of attraction, the law of there's 7 of them that my mind won't let me go through right now. But yeah, that too as a guide to know who's speaking, because it could be a voice
Ah,
of the ego. And sometimes when I do decide to share in that, based on the feeling, you
Mhm.
know, if it's guilt or sadness or grief, that tells me as well whose guide that I've taken a hand with. If there's joy and peace and love and those things that are of God and the light,
Mhm.
then that's another way of the communication that exists in the relationship with God. So it's a variety of ways that God, the Mother, Father, Creator, shows up in speaking in communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just one particular way. And then based on my walk, when I walk and I experience things and there is an emptiness that I may feel, then I know that I have chosen wrongly and I got to go back. And it's
Mhm.
going to be another opportunity for me to get it right. So, and then that's when I go to okay, I could just give it up, I give it over, and you tell me what to do, because I've obviously decided incorrectly, or there is no right or wrong, but I have made a choice that left me feeling empty.
Yeah.
So I want the fullness of God,
Yeah.
and I turn it over.
I say thank you. Thank you. Star, you started that.
What they said, no. Um, I feel so blessed because I was in hiding in a cave for so long that now that I'm out, well, the majority of me is out, and I feel like a child because I'm seeing things anew for the first time. And I've always been kind of naive about things, no street smart, none of that stuff. Um, Not that I didn't have the opportunity, but me coming out of the cave means that I have to show myself, and that just was not happening.
Mhm.
So I feel so innocent about the things that I see about life, period. Um, and I hear God's voice just like I hear y'all's voice talking to me. And because I've been in hiding for so long, I am kind of desperate or determined. I'll use the word determined first to hear God's voice, to be obedient to God's voice, um, to realize my passion. Because whenever anybody would ask me, which was mostly the queen, I don't know. I just do things to keep from going insane. That's all. So I hear his voice in a song, in a conversation, something that in a movie, on TV. I could look at a tree and hear God's voice and see something in what it is that God is saying to me. And so I'm always, for the most part, looking for what it is that God has to say. I must admit that my determination stems from being in hiding and wanting to not be here. And the fact that now I want to, I don't want to have to come back. So I am telling God yes to everything because even when I don't know what it is, yes, Yes, yes. Because my determination is that I want to get it done and complete so that I don't have to come back. So that is the way that I hear God speaking to me.
Mm, thank you. Thank you. Grand Rising, Sister Deetra, we're talking about how does God speak to you? So just, we're going from person to person, and now that Danielle's right in front of the screen, we'll let her talk while she's wrapping her head and whatever she's doing. How does God speak to you, honey?
Huh. He just, well, she speaks. I think for me, God's voice is a woman, and they just show up. I've gotten to a point in my spiritual practice where if I have a question, I ask it and it gets answered, and it gets answered relatively quickly. It will either come from the person or it comes in a song. It's whatever the situation may be, it's revealed to me. If I ask for it, it shows up. And that's what's been happening for me lately. Something as simple as, hey, I need a show me or send to me the affiliate program that will work with us for Elizabeth. And I don't know, it may show up in a video, it may show up in a TikTok or something, but whatever I ask for or whatever I need to see, it shows up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how God's voice, or that's how spirit it was working out for me. If I ask for it, it shows up.
Mhm. Thank you, Ashe. Reverend,
Okay, and this,
hold on,
Oh.
honey. Oh, well, go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to concur with what Danielle said, that it does, if I put it out there, I don't even worry about the outcome or how it shows, my question or whatever is going on will be answered. It comes through many different ways. So yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm going to be driving, so I won't
okay,
be.
dear.
Okay, thanks.
Rev?
God speaks to me. It's in a small, still voice. God speaks to me in silence. God speaks to me in meditation, beauty, music, other people, books. Yeah, speaks to me that way.
Ashe. Jackie?
I can relate to all the ways that everyone else said. And when I get an idea, sometimes I'll just get an idea and that's definitely God. And so all those ways, especially like God speaking through books and TV shows and that kind of thing, I have like different names for it, and like a few of the names are synchro divinities. So
Synchronicities.
or woo woos or echoes. And I had so an echo for me is like when I hear something like a few times that day or whatever, something, just synchronicity. I have one in particular I'll share is when my mom, on my mom's 90th birthday last year, a couple years ago actually, that morning, I was actually, every once a week I do her pill, things. I'm putting up the pills in her pill cases, and I usually like to just watch something on TV for 5 minutes or so while I'm doing that, 5 or 10 minutes. So I just happened to turn on Bob's Burgers, which is one of my favorite shows. I don't know if you know, but it's an animated show. But I hadn't turned it on in a while, and I just clicked it on Hulu. And I'm doing this is like the morning of I had planned a Zoom birthday party for my mom, so I was going to do the pills and then go down and set her up for Zoom. And then on Bob's Burgers that morning, the woman was talking to someone, and a lady came in and she was like, "Yes, we're celebrating my mom. I'm in town because we're celebrating my mom's 90th birthday today." Right? It's like, what? It was so, and so I just felt like that's definitely spirit speaking, like maybe ancestors here with me today saying, we're here for your mom's birthday as well, and things like that. So that was, it was almost like Queen Aduni with, I mean, that's an echo or a synchronicity, obviously, when you had Queen Afua contact you when you were talking about her and things like that. And they happen to me all the time. I know they happen to all of us. And those are I think some of the ways.
Oh, yeah, that is amazing. I went to my sister's house, and when you step out of her apartment building, there's some steps to go down. So a lady walks out and she has this little, she must have been like 2 years old, and she steps out and she's, and so the lady is standing there, her mom, I would assume. She had her hand down like this. The little girl was not holding her hand. And I said, I'm gonna watch this. So she's just standing there and stuff. Mom had her hand down. I said, will she grab her hand? And at a point when it said it was time to go, she puts her hands up into her mother's hand and they walk down the steps. So we learn how to just, the hand is there. It's time to go. She puts her hand up into her mom's hand to go down them steps. And mom's got her as she's twisting, trying to, because she's so little, to go down the step. But even if she kind of wobbles, her mom's got her. She grabs herself, she gathers herself, but she knows that her hand is in God's hand. So as we walk this life, just knowing God's got me, God's got us, she got us hand locked in. And only if that child would have jerked away would she have to have still grabbed her. I remember my grandson coming down the steps, and the rail didn't have like close rails like what you see here, where you can't fall through them. It had gaps. And he started falling down, and my hand went down and grabbed him. Like that. That's how God is. We start falling, grabs us, and then he's secure. He's not freaked out. Yeah, God's got us. God has got us. So that is so beautiful. Everyone's way, and which is the same, all of us. We experience God in so many different ways. I was, this is one of my favorite books, which is, what is it, Jackie?
I know it because it's my favorite book as well, Conversations with God.
So I'm reading Communion with God, and how preachers, how they sum up everything at the end. They about to find, and the organ starts playing, and it's about time. Well, every chapter, God will sum it up. And you feel that. And he's like, really drilling it in such a loving way. I was walking on a track field doing my exercise, walking, and I'm reading the book. And then as I'm coming off, God is just talking about, I speak to you when the wind brushes your face. That's me. I speak to you through a child doing this. I speak to you. That's me. I was like, oh, and I was crying, tears were rolling down my face because I could feel God's love all around me. Everything, all this, the trees, the leaves blowing and stuff like that. I had to walk over to the freeway where the fence was because, they would have thought something was wrong with me, but I was just, I could feel I could feel God's spirit all around me and stuff. And as he was summarizing all that he had talked about, and, to walk with that, to be able to walk with that in every moment is our goal, to feel God in every moment, and to know that God is shielding us when something negative is about to come, put a hedge around us, right? Walking in the knowing of that. I always knew that my mom would protect me, period. I always knew without even being around my dad that if I was with him, he would protect me. I always knew. I even know that if I'm with Pam and something's going to come at me, she's going to protect me. I now know that all of you will protect me, and that is just like, that's the way to live. That's the way to live, so thank you for sharing your relationship with God and how you hear God,
Can I share something else?
yeah.
When you were talking about the little girl and her mother and how God, has us, God showed me a vision years ago, and I had an artist draw it. And this, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, that person inside the alligator is me. And I'm all the way up until all you can see is my head and my arm. And I'm reaching up because that hand coming down is God's hand. And God was letting me know that I still got you. I still got you. And like, what Evelyn was sharing, how, God's voice gets louder when we don't listen. That he, even though I was in trouble to that extent,
Yeah.
God was letting me know I still got you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to read the poem that I wrote to that. It says, when it seems like you've reached your end and your back is against the wall, when you've tried everything you know and all of your hope is gone, when tomorrow holds no promises and darkness has consumed today, hold on, don't give up, help is on the way. In the darkness of the night, there lies a shining light. So I just wanted to share that it doesn't matter how much trouble you think you're in an instant, as we've learned in the Course of Miracles, God's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing that I had gotten from another book which is Home. I think it's Home with God. Isn't that one of the books, Home?
Yeah.
And where it says, we fear death, but that is there's no other place to go but to me, back to me, so don't be fearing hell and all that other stuff. It's only one with me. And then so that took the thing of fear of death. I mean, you might feel something, but that'll be in that instant, and other people will feel bad about you leaving and stuff, but you back with me, like, And that's the best place. If people sick and stuff, and I know that they say that, and you don't want to hear that in the midst of it. He's in a better place, she's in a better place, but so knowing that I may feel something, but to be with God, if we could walk that now in every moment, in every instant. So anyway, that's, yes, Danielle.
I just want to share with Pam. It was something that she said that she was in hiding. And when she came out, she was looking at things and viewing things, newly like a child. That's not something that comes out for somebody that's hiding. That's for somebody that comes out in isolation. And it's almost like
Mm.
you went in, if you think about how the transition of a butterfly is from a caterpillar to a butterfly, they go within themselves. Sorry about that. They go within themselves for
Mhm.
that period of time of transformation. And when they come out, yes, you are a new being, a new creature, someone who is a new part, someone that is transformed from the old to the new. And yes, everything is going to look totally brand new and different. So instead of saying hiding, just say you was in isolation, because we all got to go within. We all got to go within from time to time to transform.
I remember something that, and thank you, Danielle. That makes a lot of sense. And that Viola Davis said when she said that to the caterpillar, it's the end of the world, but to God, it's a butterfly.
Mhm.
And if I may piggyback off of Danielle and Star, sometimes God hides you. He will hide you until his set time.
Mhm.
Ever that was a relationship that you were having with him, and when he was ready to bring you out, you came out. That's why each individual person has their own walk, their
Yeah.
own way. You can't walk somebody else's walk. You can't follow what somebody else does. People can say to you, you should do this and you should do that. If that's not meant for you, don't board the wrong train, because that train is going to take you completely out of the way and out of what he has for you. Walk your walk, because your walk is personal and individual.
Thank you, Bridget. I would like to piggyback on that. I I think one of the ways, like you said, if that's not for you, like, your walk is different from everybody's walk. So I think I like when Louise Hay would say, when something was brought to her, how she knew it was for her, she would get her inner ding would tell her. So like, listen to your inner ding,
Mhm.
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 you know. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah.
I say, well, I did text and I was calling our grand host. I'm not sure what's going on, but you get to step into co-host, our co-host, which is the very reason that I say that everyone needs to have a co-host, because otherwise, as I've told people, then I have to step in, and I have my day. It's Friday. Although I have no problem doing whatever's needed to be done. But you came to, and so it's important that someone else steps in that knows what your show is about and all that kind of stuff. And so we have our new co-host, and we have our guest here, who is one of us. So I am going to turn it over and let you all do your thing. So let's give it up for our new co-host, Jackie Jones.
Thank you, thank you. Wow. Well, what's there for me, I really would just like to go to Bridget. However, the thing I really would, there's a, okay, I really would like to stall a little bit too. And there's a few things that I do have in mind regarding stalling. Yes, good. Queen.
And I'll call her.
Okay, thanks. Because obviously the way that my host, my person I'm supporting, Mama Head, the way that she interviews people and brings out the questions, like nobody could do it like her, right? So it's like I would really rather wait, um, but I will say a few things in hopes that she will come in at that point. But otherwise, we'll go on. Just the show must go on, right? So, but one thing I want to say is thank you again to Danielle for last night.
Yes.
She was helping us, helping some of the old people like me with that.
And she was
smoothie.
patient with us.
Yeah, she was so patient.
Thank you guys. I'm really, how can I say this? We are all shining. And I know that there are more, the message that we have here, more people need to see it. And can't nobody get your message out there better than you. So I'm committed to making sure that we are getting our ministries and our messages out there, and also get some of those opportunities. What is it that Jackie, what is it, the other Jackie, the financial Jackie talked about on her show yesterday?
Financial
That's
Jackie.
Jacqueline.
Yes,
I
Jacqueline.
can't,
Yeah, we call
what's
her
her name?
Jacqueline.
That's a distinction.
Jacqueline.
That's okay.
Mhm.
That's the
Jacqueline.
financial Jacqueline, just financial Jackie, and the music Jackie. So we have, you can do it like that
Yes,
too.
so I'm looking forward to, I want us all to grow and shine. Serious, there's an audience out there for everybody waiting to hear you. We have to make sure we're out there. So, and I just say practice. Don't be afraid to practice. That's it. You may mess up. I messed up on the quick video I did yesterday. I messed up and got hashtag Eli on there. I don't know. Maybe I need to look up something for Eli. I don't know. But it's a mistake. I realize it. It's up there. It's not detrimental. The video is staying up there because it's got traction. And I'm like, you know what? we're gonna keep going. We're just gonna keep going. So I'm excited. I'm excited to watch you guys and see you guys, see you ladies, not guys, see you Elizabeth grow. I'm excited to see the growth. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited to learn something from you.
the class that the class that I was taking, she would say, because it would be where, okay, I want you ladies to go out there and I want you to make videos. Everybody be freaking out and stuff, you know, and then we would post the videos in our Facebook chat so that we could critique each other. But she would say, just let it be okay to be perfectly imperfect. Perfectly imperfect, you know. And then we try it, and then we would critique one another, or you know, and then we go back and bring in it. This is the second one, and you know, so it was perfectly imperfect, you know.
And many times, nobody knows that you messed up. Both Danielle and I are dancers, and many times we've been told, when you're on stage and you know you messed up, don't stop and don't show that to your audience.
Right.
Because guess what? They don't know you messed up. And at the end of it, people will be coming to you and they were going, that's great, that was great. And you'll be going, in your mind, you will be going, I messed up here and here. I messed up here. I meant to turn right and I turned left.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that. It's the time. It's the times when my bra or my costume would pop in the middle of a performance, and I have to keep it. I have to dance and keep it belly dance and not go into burlesque. Yeah, it's those times that happen to me, and people be like, "That was the best performance." And the one arm, it's like, what is the thing where I'm dancing with one arm? No, you don't understand. I'm trying to keep the bra from falling off. That's what's happening.
Yes, right. Right.
We were doing a performance. As a matter of fact, it's the main photo on my Facebook page that we did a performance at Tangent Gallery. One of the members of the group, she turned and she broke her toe.
Oh,
we didn't know it. And she very nicely exited the stage.
I remember that.
Her. We couldn't react to that she left. As a matter of fact, we were so in tune with what was going on. I saw her leave out of the corner of my eye, but I had to refocus and we had to just reform because this was a full truth. We had to reform, re-fall back in line, reline back up on stage. Nobody knew what was going on until the performance was over. Now we're coming off stage and we're looking for her. She's in the back. There's a doctor that's putting ice on her toe. And she's like, I broke my toe. She ended up having to have surgery on that toe, but we didn't know that. And how classily she exited the stage, and nobody knew. Nobody ever knew what went on. And people thought that that was a part of the show, that, okay, that was her segment and she was gone. And you guys fell back in line and kept at it. In a way, that's life.
Yeah,
No,
it is.
I can relate to that as a singer, and I know Queen Aduni relates to that as, being on stage, right? And I remember one time, probably more than once, but one time in particular, and I was singing, I came in on a note that wasn't correct at all. And then I went to the right note and went to where I was supposed to be going. And one of my friends who's a singer was like, "Oh, I thought you were just coming in on some, like, you thought I was doing something real hip." Like, no, I was lost. But that's
Many times.
and also Queen Aduni's husband, I'm sure, can relate to this, being a piano player. A lot of piano players was the one piano player, I can't think of his name right now, that one of the famous piano players that wrote a book, and he used to play with Miles Davis. Oh gosh, the name is just escaping me right now. But you talked about, there are no, like, even when you're playing chords and you're playing the wrong chord, it's not the wrong chord. It's like what you make of that. Like, where do you go to that from there? Where do you go from there? That's the important thing. And
Mhm.
that definitely relates to life as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Life goes on.
Mhm.
I have messed up so many words or didn't come in and looking at my husband, and they hate when you look at the musicians,
Like it's their fault. Like,
matter matter of fact, when I sang at Bert's Baker's the other night, I
yeah.
was singing, I was going to sing feel like making love, right?
Okay.
And I done already went over the words and stuff like that. Now I'm on stage, they done talked and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, what's the first words?
Oh, absolutely. Been there many times.
Yeah, Philip just like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where do I
How-
come in? So that's Mama Head is on her way.
Okay, good.
But yeah,
Did
yeah.
that thing on stage with Ella Fitzgerald. There's
Mhm.
a famous version with Mac the Knife, famous version of a Mac the Knife. And Danielle, this is great for you. Like when you said the wrong thing, or you did, said I made a mistake. Well, if you can look this version up of Mac the Knife where she forgets the words. And she just starts making up words, and she's like, so one of the lyrics she says in there, we made a wreck of Mac the Knife. And that is the most famous version of Mac the Knife, and it's awesome. So it's like, really, what you do with it.
That's probably where a lot of scatting came in.
Well,
For
that's
people.
yeah, that was what's the trumpet player? It was that trumpet player that was singing, the one that
Is
has
it
that scratchy voice. Was Lou
Lou Rawls?
Armstrong.
Not Lou Rawls.
Lou
Armstrong.
Armstrong?
Is it Armstrong or Lou
It's,
Rawls?
it's Armstrong, but what's
Yeah,
his first? Is it Lou Armstrong? What is it?
Louis.
Louis Armstrong.
Yeah.
Yes, Louis. Right, Louis Armstrong. And he was singing and he forgot the words and he started scatting. That is where scatting came from.
If you forget it, to make it up or
Make it up.
scat it through.
Exactly.
Hey, Mama Head.
Hey, Mama Head is here.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hey, Mama Head.
Hey.
I think Danielle wore her out last night. She overslept this morning.
Unmute. We can't hear you.
I had a Grand Rising, Elizabeth.
Grand
Grand
Rising.
Rising.
Just got
Grand
the
Rising.
show.
Ooh wee.
Well,
All
let
right.
me tell you what we did. We
Yeah.
talked about how we each individually hear God. Yeah, and how do you know when that's God? And then we greeted one another and just shared from that. and we talked about the joy of last night and us coming together and learning what we learned. And we
Our
talked
patient
about-
teacher, Danielle. our patient
yeah,
teacher.
yeah. And then we talked about, don't tell her, okay, but we told Mama Evelyn she can't hide no more. She got to come on and be a special guest. Yeah, and she tried to act like, oh, and then we reminded her of how awesome she is. And then she got the goods as she's looking around all around already, you know, and so we just need to set a date for her to be the special guest. And all that.
I got a Wednesday next week.
That's good. Isn't that good? Look at her. Because she's all perked up, she's healed. So we're not, you know, just and we're at the point now. Danielle was sharing what a joy she had being a bear. You know, I call it a bear. She's a bear with that. She's not accepting. She just wants you to be perfectly imperfect. That's all. Just be perfectly imperfect.
That's right.
So we are now at the point of Bridget, and I didn't know what you all had discussed, but you know, you can greet us and then go right on into.
All right. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. All right. Well, welcome to the second half of the Elizabeth Show. We have a special guest today. This person has been present for some weeks now, and I have been having my eye on this person for quite a while. And today is the first Wednesday of 2023. It is December. Let me start over. There it is. There it is. I told y'all my 2022. Okay, so today is the first day, the first Wednesday of 2023, and it is a January the 4th. Yes. Today our special guest is Bridget Green, and our host is first day hosting is Sister Jackie Jones.
Thank you. Co-host.
Co-host. Oh, did I say hosting? You see, I keep having those slips. It was a host today. It was host today.
Egg McMahon. I keep saying it. Egg McMahon.
All right. So Jackie has given us her role, and I am very appreciative of it because I sure needed Egg McMahon today. Okay. So everybody has been groomed, and I'd like to say grand rising to our Elizabeths. All of you. Have we done our roll call?
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Did a roll call? All right, well, I'm Mama Het. Mama Het in the house. All right, that's me. All right, so Bridget.
Yes, ma'am.
You are the one. So tell us how Bridget Green came to be what is it called? Tell us the name of the supper club.
The supper club is Precious Night Events Supper Club and Live Entertainment.
Okay, so tell us, what exactly is a supper club?
So a supper club is a throwback to the supper clubs go as far back as the 1920s, but they became especially popular during the 1940s up to the 1970s. And they were a social gathering place where people came together to listen to live music and to have dinner. So catch a live show and have dinner. When you think back as far as the Cotton Club, they went, that's where a lot of your famous jazz artists were showcased. Louis Armstrong, Ella Fitzgerald. People went there to see these really great performers perform and have a really great dinner. But what they really had was a great experience. And the one thing about that experience, if you ever look at old photos, people got dressed. And I think back to my parents, and when they went out to dinner with their friends, they didn't, and this is not to say anything bad about jeans, because I love my jeans, but when my mom and daddy went out, dressed, we knew they were going out. There was no mistaking where they were going. But there was an atmosphere. You're in this atmosphere. That is a total experience. When you're in that atmosphere, the one thing that was placed on my heart, because actually this didn't come to me, the Holy Spirit gave this to me. So I have an assignment with this, and to get it right and to do it right. But it brings people together. If you ever want to watch the walls of people's division fall, give them food, wine, and music. And conversations take place that are unbelievable. They bring people together. People who may not like one another, they may not know one another, but they will sit down and they will have dinner and they will talk about a wide range of subjects. The supper club that I held in September, Sky Covington performed. And around that dinner table that evening, when everyone started talking, they started going back to the old Belle Isle. Everybody started telling their ages. They started talking about the old Belle Isle and the old Giant Slide and the old Playscape. And somebody bought up Edgewater Park, and you remember Edgewater? And there was this whole conversation that took place that at the end of the evening, one of the things that I say is people walk in as strangers, they leave as friends. So supper clubs, in my view, and how I looked at it and my creation of it, is a tearing down of walls, bringing people together.
I like that. I
Yeah.
really like that. I really like the fact that, the whole dressing up and getting dressed, presentation, and also the setting, the place, and how the place is decorated, our venue. It would be the venue and how the venue would be decorated. So, Bridget, tell us what would a typical meal be at a supper club? What's an ideal meal that would happen at a supper club?
So I'll give you the menu that we had at the last supper club. The caterer that I showcased that evening, she did an artesian salad and bread. First off, let's start off with hors d'oeuvres. So there was an hors d'oeuvre table, and she created a charcuterie board of cheeses and fruits and all of that. And we served wine with the hors d'oeuvres. So that was icebreaker time. For dinner was Moroccan broccoli and beef, salmon. She did a pasta because I wanted to cater to those that maybe were vegetarian and that didn't eat meat. So I tried to make it balanced. She did a string beans with smoked turkey and tomatoes. And what else did we do? And then I had a dessert table, and with the dessert table, she did for me banana pudding shooters, and she did red velvet cupcakes, and they were small, like bite size.
Mhm.
cupcakes. And I laugh about that because at the end of the evening, I was going, okay, I have to go back and get banana pudding. Banana pudding was gone. That went first. And so that is kind of the meal, and it changes. One of the things of my creation of this is not only does Michigan have, and the Detroit area, have amazing, amazing jazz performance and jazz artists and musicians and singers and everything, but we have caterers and chefs out there who are there's an opportunity. And what I want to be able to do is showcase up and coming chefs, up and coming jazz artists and musicians, and bring people, like I said, and bring people together. So that's actually kind of the meal that's the meal. It changes according to that chef and what's their specialty. What do you like to cook? But at the same time, catering to patrons who may be kosher, patrons who may be vegetarian, and sometimes we can't satisfy everybody because right now we know everybody. You've got people who are, I'm vegan, I can't have gluten, I can't. So on my website, I have it posted on there that we can't cater to everyone, but we post the menu. So this is what's being served. If you're good with that, come on, drop by. If not, I've had to tell people, if we served a plate for every single person, it would be impossible.
Right.
So that is a bit of the menu and how that menu can go, and how it's kind of created.
I really like the fact that you're looking to showcase local artists and with the performers and also the caterers, because that way that gives a lot of people a different chance to be showcased who might not have that venue to do, and it gives them a different setting, a different style of experience here in the city of Detroit. I really like that. So let me ask this. So let me ask Bridget Green.
Yes, ma'am.
When she was a little girl, I always like to travel back. When you were a little girl, what were the things that you would pretend or play that maybe was the beginning steps of leaning towards this supper club? What did you see or experience that gave you, or was it something that happened when you were little? I want you to go all the way back to whenever that experience may have shown up a little bit before now, or did it just show up?
I've heard you ask that question before, and it literally did make me start to go back. Where'd this come from? Where'd this come from? My parents were married for 57 years, and my father was extremely outgoing. So my mother was the introvert, my father was the extrovert, and we would laugh and we would tell my mom whenever my dad said, "Come on, let's go." We would always tease her and go, "Put on your roller skates," because dad says he's going one place, we're going to end up all over the place. My father would be one on a Saturday that he would be like, "Okay, so-and-so is coming over." Well, so-and-so coming over ended up being a house full of people. And we had a finished basement. And my dad loved to sing. My dad loved to sing. My dad was a performer in his own right. And everybody would end up in the basement. And it would be music going. And suddenly my mom's upstairs cooking, and my dad also cooked. And now it's turned into a party. And the one thing that I think I learned from them was, open your home and welcome people. And I guess that whole event and bringing things together carried over into my personal life, because for years on a Saturday, I'd wake up and I'd call my friends and I'd be, all right, parties at my house, see you at 7 o'clock. I supplied the house, you bring the rest. And everyone would come, but I'd always be in the kitchen cooking, because I would feel like, and that's the Southern girl in me, I would be like, oh, I gotta cook. I gotta make something. And it would just be bring people together. And my joy would be at the end of the evening, when I got tired, whatever wee hours of the morning that was, I would be like, all right, goodbye. Party's over, at the door, go home, you know.
I love it.
So I think that's where a bit of where that came from. But I also remember when I was young, which is funny now, I would always like play businesswoman. I'm a businesswoman. I have a meeting to go to. I have to go to a meeting, and I would have my little briefcase and everything, and I have to go to a meeting. You know, I own these businesses. I have to go to a meeting. And now I find myself as a businesswoman with several different businesses, and I'm going, I've got a meeting. I've got a meeting. I've got a meeting. I've got a meeting. Even though I do what I do by day, in the evening when I'm off work, I have to keep a schedule, because I have a meeting to go to. And what is absolutely funny is at the beginning of the year, this is my planner. This is my planner. And so when I take it out, this is the little girl in me. Because
Can we see the whole, Bridget, hold it up. Let me see. Oh yeah, I didn't think it was a little baby. It's not a little baby.
Yeah, so this is my little girl dream of, I've got to go to a meeting. I've got to go to a meeting. This is my, everything's in it, but I've got to go to a meeting. And when I bought it, I started laughing because I heard your voice. So what was it when you were a little girl? When I picked that up, I was like, that's the little girl.
Okay.
Meeting. I've got stuff I've got to do.
I love it. So you've been busy. I love it. So it sounds like your home was the supper club. That's what it sounds like.
And when you think about it, it was.
Oh my
and
goodness.
believe you me, there were times that my mom was none too happy about that. But at the end of the evening, all was well. So
Right. Right. She
believe
knew it
that
was
that
the
is where
work
it started.
involved. And you know,
Yes.
sometimes I think people get a little, they get a little feeling some kind of way because they know that they think of the labor, but they know that nobody else is going to be able to do what they can do. So you're going to just have to do what it is that you do, because that somebody else, so sister so-and-so might like to cook, but she might not be the one that need to cook. She might need to be the one that's seasoning or, turning,
Exactly.
So, sometimes that responsibility, your responsibility when you know your gift. So that was fun taking that journey, because I swear I just see all of this playing out in the front of my face because of the way that you told the story. And I laugh because I think I do know that on the northwest side of Detroit was the supper club on Halleck Street, and it might be anybody's house on our block. I remember we had a fish fry one night. We got to raise rent, get the paint, buy paint for the walls or whatever. So they would have, oh my goodness, the supper club. Beautiful. Anybody else remember the parents and entertaining, or at least going to attend? What time is it? Anybody else remember that happening in their home? All right, we're gonna go on. Nobody, I don't see any hands. So Bridget, wow. So you've shared your family home and how that all went. So let's travel further growing up. And I know, were you still attending meetings as a young lady, young woman, and going into this adult stage? What was life like? What was happening with Bridget in her life?
So my parents, like I said, my parents were very outgoing people, but they were also very caring people. So when people would be in the hospital, they would go to the hospital. And my thing was at that time, I want to go to the gift shop. So I would go. And I want to go to the gift shop. I want to go to the gift shop. Okay, I can't go upstairs because I wasn't old enough at that time. I want to go to the gift shop. When I became old enough and I would go and visit people, I saw the ladies who worked behind the desk. And they were the unit secretaries and the unit clerks. And I started telling my dad and my mom I wanted to go into medical. And I kept saying it. And it's interesting how we talk about what you manifest. What you repeat is where your words go is where you flow. And so I ended up going into healthcare. I worked in healthcare for about 12 years, doing what I kept saying as a little girl or as a pre-teenager. I want to help people. I want to be behind the desk. I want to help people. And my brother would go, who was older than me, he would go, don't you want to be a nurse? And I would go, oh, no. I want to help people. I want to be behind the desk. That's what I ended up doing for some years before making the transition to the career that I've been in now for a little over 20 years. But even then, I still found myself looking at classes at Schoolcraft College for event planning. Every year, I would look in this book and I would go, I want to take this class. And I would always miss the first class. And the prerequisite was you had to take the first class in order to take the other, because there are 4 classes in total. In order to take the others, you have to take the first one. I would always miss the first class. So over the years, I would go, I'm going to go and take this class. It didn't happen. I didn't think about it anymore. At the end, towards the end of 2019, God put it back into me, going back to school. And I started researching again. I'm like, what am I going for? What am I going for? What am I going for? And I was like, project management. So I started looking up project management, but every time I pulled up project management, event planning popped up right next to it. And I was like, so on my vision board that I created, which I found when I moved, I had all these vision boards and they all talked about event planning. So I was like, all right. Well, what am I going to do? Which one am I going to go? Where am I going? Well, he led me to contact Lawrence Tech. And I started taking their project management classes that January. They had a project management course. It was just a short course to prepare you to take the project management exam, the PMP exam. So I entered Lawrence Tech University, and how that came about, I had nothing to do with. That was totally God. Because what that program costs, I did not have the money for that. When everyone else was giving their companies, their companies were paying for it. When I told you, I said, I'm paying out of pocket for this. And he said, I paid a good amount. And he was like, call the rest of it done. And I was like, are you serious? And he said, call it done.
Did you know Don had a $sign on it, baby?
I sent him an email the next day and repeated his words. And I said, did you really mean this? Did I hear this right? And he sent it back. He said, you heard me right. It's done. You're paid in full. It's like, okay. All right. Okay. I finished out the class. When I say God works in amazing ways, I was in rooms with people with master's degrees, PhDs, and they are using words that I had to go home. I had to buy a thesaurus, go home and look up. I was like, what does this mean? And I remember sitting in that class asking, why am I here? And I heard plainly, because I put you here. And I said, okay, I'm gonna ride. So I went through the course. That I entered it in January of 2020. March the 6th, the course ended. 2 weeks later, Michigan was shut down. That was when we went into the pandemic. And I was like, okay, what do I do with this? I thought that I was going to use it for my job. So I'm applying for project management positions and nothing's coming through. I started praying about it. Oh, that's not what I gave that to you for. And I said, okay, I don't know. Now I don't know what it's for. So I'm like, all right. At the time I was living in Oak Park. I moved from Oak Park to where I am in Farmington Hills. And I am 9 minutes from Schoolcraft College.
Hmm.
9 minutes. So the opportunity comes open, take an online event planning class. So I took that. I was like, okay, but it still wasn't quite feeling it.
Did you make the first class though? Did you make the first class?
I did. I sure did. And so that January, it opened up because
Okay.
Schoolcraft College is now opening up to in-person classes.
Hmm.
I make the first class and I said and that was last year. So I said, okay, like I said, I'm following where he leads. Normally, my professor said that his class is usually 30 people, solid.
Yeah.
There were 7 of us in that class.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. He can give you some undivided attention.
And that was what it was. So,
Ooh.
okay, all right. I went on through the class. But prior to the class, let's roll back to 2021.
Okay. I was getting ready to ask that. I said, oh, it sounded like a skip there. Okay.
So in May of 2021, about 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear Precious Night events. And I'm like, and I keep a pad on the side of my bed, but that night I ignored it. I rolled over and went back to sleep. The next morning, 3 a.m., I hear it again. Precious Night events. That's the name. I said, okay. I wake up this time because this is not the second time I've heard this, and I write it down. And I went back to sleep. The next day for a third time I heard it. But then I heard Precious Night event management. And I was like, all right. So I wrote it down. And I let it be. And I prayed on it and I let it be. Because I didn't know what to do with it. 3 days later comes the additional part. You need to go online and you need to lock down this name I gave you. So I go online and I lock down the name. And I lock it up. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I enter school but in the meantime, I'm writing and it's coming and it's coming. So there's another women's group that I joined last year and I started an entrepreneurial seed group who have ideas. And She Hive in Ferndale. And I started working it out. We started working it out. And in the meantime, I took a leap of faith. And I said that February, I went to the event space that's not too far from me, called her up on a whim, went in, had a long conversation. and was like, okay, this is what I want to do. She said, we love your idea. She said, we want to be a part of this. My first event was April the 17th, and it was with a women's group. And that was the first supper club event. I did another one that August, and then that September was the first time I did the jazz supper club one. And everyone kept saying to me, do another one, do another one. And it wasn't in my spirit to do another one. I was told, this was the 3 I wanted you to do. I needed to kind of sit and allow him to lead me from there. And it just continued to develop it's now developed into 2 companies. So there's Precious Night Event Management, LLC, and there is Precious Night Supper Club and Live Entertainment, LLC. So they are 2 separate ones. I think you guys have heard me talk about me wanting to go into finishing, because I've started them, my floral design classes. And speaking with my professor one day, he was saying, I've got events coming up. Is anyone willing to help? And I was like, that's exactly what I did. I was like,
Precious Night is here.
after class, I went to him and I said, if you are looking for a volunteer, I want to learn. He said, you want to learn? Okay. From April of 2021 until November, the end of November of April of 2022 to November of 2022. So that's 9 months. I worked side by side with him every single weekend, learning under him. And there was one day we were out and I said, would you mentor? I said, do you mentor people? And he said, yeah. I said, would you mentor me? Now I'm having this conversation with him and I always go, I wasn't speaking. I would think it and it was coming out. And I was going, why am I saying these words? But that's what I was following. So I asked him to mentor me, and he has been my mentor. He's a florist. He owns his own event decor company and his own bakery. So he also does wedding cakes. And I have had an opportunity to learn under him. And so at the end of the season last year, at the end of the season, we were talking and I said, he had kind of mentioned to me and he'd said to someone else, I'm trying to get her to come into this on a full-time basis. I'm trying to get her to come over to doing weddings on a full-time basis. And I laughed because when I was in class, one of our assignments was doing weddings. And I said, I do not want to do weddings. I don't even want to be bothered with that. That is not my thing. Okay, well, never say never. God found that funny because I started doing the decor and the design for that. And at the end of the season, I said, are you looking for a right-hand person, a left-hand person? And he was like, a protege? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, you right? And I was like, see you next year. So this year, I will now be his protege and learn from him even more.
So wait a minute. So you went from being a volunteer to I love how you asked, could he be your mentor? And you was already volunteer, but that's okay. So volunteer to mentorship to doing the doggone thing, and now protege and right hand. You said you're working sideline with him now. That's
side by
beautiful.
side.
I love this evolution, Bridget, this evolution. And I hear, it sounds like you have a set of twins and a third baby coming. That's what I'm talking about.
I've had somebody say to me, I'm about ready for you to come in here and say you have now become a certified doula, because I don't know how you do everything that you're doing. And I'm like, I'm not doing all of this. I'm just following what I'm told to do. So
Right. So the supper club, the entertainment piece and the event management, and then the wait a minute, let me get my word. The two LLCs. One is tell me them again. I wrote them down, but it's not registering. I'm not able to read.
Precious Night Event Management, underneath that umbrella is will be the floral design piece.
Okay.
I'm also ordained to perform weddings. So I'm also ordained to perform weddings, and I'm also a notary. So all of that he led me to do in a year. So from January to November, all of that was being done.
So it sounds like you have children and grandchildren already, and now you got, I don't know, nieces and nephews. I don't know. There's a whole family. It's a whole cipher coming. You got a spiral going, and I'm seeing that this spin is just, it's engulfing every aspect. And I was gonna say, you said, now remember when you said you didn't like, you was like, nope, not the weddings, but you're really not doing the weddings. You're doing the before the wedding part. But then you said you're the one who's performing the ceremony. I was like, you right inside.
I wondered why he had me. I was like, why did you? I was having a conversation with someone because I had to have some forms notarized. And she happened to be a friend of my sister's. And my sister is telling her about me. And I'm looking at my sister, and I'm private. And I'm looking at her like, I am going to hit you in your face if you tell this woman one more thing about me. And she was like, no, you got to get my sister to do this. You got to get, and I'm sitting next to her. And I'm like, okay. So me and her, we start talking. And she's a young Black woman. And she said, I want to be able to refer people to another sister. And I'm looking at her like, I have enough on my plate. No. So they leave. We all end up sitting there talking. And it was like, have some wine. We have some wine, and I'm like, okay, I just sent everybody out the door. And I think nothing else of it until about 2 weeks later, middle of the night again, 2:00 in the morning. You need to find out how to do weddings. All right. I'm like, I'm not going to use this, but okay. I go online and I find out you have to become an ordained minister. I said, nope. Nope, that's not me. Nope, that's not me. And I was like, that's not me. No. Yeah, well, again, God has other plans for you.
That's something.
So I ended up going through, which it's an online, it was 5 minutes of, okay, here's my information. And it rang back, you were ordained, and I laughed at that. And I was like, okay, all right. So I just tell them, I am ordained to perform weddings, nothing else. And so I added that to it. And so now that he's planted the seeds, and that's what I call it, he's planted the seeds, now I'm doing the work.
The crop is growing, Bridget. The crop is growing. We have a question on deck, Sister Deidre.
Yes,
Give you a chance. Unmute your phone.
Yes, thank
All right
you.
now.
Thank you, Sister Bridget, for sharing your story. And I just want to say it took me back. It really took me back to 2005, because at that time, I was an avid ballroom dancer in Saginaw, Michigan. And then, but even before then, growing up, I was a jazz. My father raised me on jazz music, so I love jazz music. So And as being a ballroom dancer, you always hear jazz music when you're dancing and everything. So I was in Saginaw, Michigan, and they did not have live jazz. And I love going to live jazz shows all the time. I would do it when I was near Detroit. So when I was in Saginaw, I was like, hey, we need to open up a jazz club here in Saginaw. So lo and behold, you know what they say, you know, if you want it to happen, sometimes you got to be the one to do it. So, hey, I opened a jazz club in Saginaw called Jazz Oasis. And, but I wouldn't say it was a supper club. What it was for me, because, well, it's kind of funny because they were not given liquor licenses, you know, that readily at that time. So, I really want to be more family oriented, you know, and so one of the trombone players that came in, a guest, he said, would you be willing to start a 901 when I'm Lord
401c3.
thank you, where you're educating young people to get into the business of music and understanding how it works. And I was like, oh, that sounds wonderful, right? And so that's what I really formed in Saginaw in my jazz club. In addition to having poets come in and speak on a weekly basis. And I went so far as to go get a jazz quartet from the local college near Saginaw. You know, so I got them in. They were my house band, and so it was just a beautiful experience. And I mean, just listening to this story just took me back there, and how much fun I had, and how the community supported me. You know, my dance community came in and supported me. So that was just beautiful. So thank you for sharing your story. But it took me back, and it's good to remember those times. So
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
yes. So if you have anything in regards to, you know, jazz clubs or something, or, you know, a group of people getting together, I would love to be a part of that.
Well, we have something coming up. March the 23rd. It is going to be at the community center on John R. I think I see the flyer. It's still, it's come together, but you'll be hearing more about it.
Okay, great.
Collaboration between myself and Sky Covington. And
good deal.
Going to be in celebration of Women's Month. So
Right. March is one.
Jazz singers, and so that's March the 25th, I believe it is. So
okay, thank you.
Coming together, and that will be in March.
Good deal.
That sounds awesome. Thank you, Dietrich, for sharing that. You know, sometimes we forget the things that we've done.
Exactly.
We forget all we've done. And you know, Bridget, when I saw this picture, I was like, "Oh, that passed already. I missed that." In this 2023.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we'll make sure we get that out and put that online.
Yeah, and actually that's still in formation, because that's her flyer, and so that has her information on it. My flyer will be adding my website and my information. So
great.
We'll be able to purchase tickets on Eventbrite.
Yeah, because I mean, not that we need it, but we do, but there's no year on here. That's what I see missing.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's still, everything is still in process.
Yeah, okay, well, look, when it's ready, you let us know so we can put it on out there. So we have there's some more Bridget. I'm loving that I'm getting to meet all the aspects of you. You have so many different components. And that's what it sounds like when you were sitting there with your sister. You said your sister was calling out all the things that you do. And that one who said, the one who wants to play the mama introvert, I hear that she's there. It's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? You're exposing me. That's a lot of times people that I think that there's a shyness, My husband would tell me all that breaking, when you break anything down, the basis of it is fear. You know, that's what he tells me. I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, yes, it is. He's like, just think about it deeply. And it is, for me, it was true. But there is a very shy component that we do have that. We have that, the one that wants to be hidden. But when does that one get to come out and do? Because that one is needed as well. Sometimes you need that one that's quiet and sits to the back and like, let me check. Look, that's the one that's like, let me check out all of it. Make sure it's legit and make sure it's okay and all of that. So that's, I almost want to call that the security guard, somewhat for our energy. But there's also another aspect of you, the shimmy, the belly dancer.
Yes.
So let us meet her as well. Real, you know, we got, how long we got here? Oh, this time is going nice and slow. So yes, let us meet. Can we meet her? Can you ask the belly dancer if she could come and share?
Okay, I will ask her to come on out. So yes, there is another aspect of me. I am a belly dancer.
Yay!
I have been belly dancing for, we won't talk about how many years, but I've been belly dancing for quite a few years. I actually took about 5 years off. So I'm really stepping back.
Okay.
But I have performed professionally on a few stages. My dance mom knows your dance mom very well. So my dance mom is Aziza Amar. She's part of what's called the Princess Daughters. She learned from Princess Mediha.
Okay.
Which is who also Stephanie Carr learned from. They were all a part of that group. How I came to belly dance is interesting all its own. So
okay, wait a minute, Bridget. So is this the sister? Was this the young lady that was out of Ferndale, working in Ferndale? Where were your classes here?
No, I started out with her. Now D Watkins was in Ferndale. I attended her classes.
Okay, I know D. Okay.
Yes. So how I ended up on yeah.
Let me give you a little history about Aziza. Aziza is a part of a Lebanese, she's Lebanese. So she was performing here in Detroit. I'm gonna give you a little bit of history. When Bazooki's was originally a belly dance club downtown.
Oh yeah, I always wanted to go in there. And we're gonna make it quick. We're gonna make it quick, Danielle, because I gotta get this story out of Bridget. Okay. All right.
I just wanted to let you know, Bazooki's used to be a belly dance club. That's all.
I know. I used to always want to go in there. Never went. I sure wanted to go. Go ahead. Okay. Thank you, Danielle, for the history tidbit. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Right. So Danielle was in that class with me. So we learned from what we call the legends.
Okay.
Yes. And I also say I've learned from someone who has that, she's first generation American. So she learned from her grandmother, who learned from her grandmother, who learned from her grandmother. So I've always said the people I've learned from, they learned it from where it was
right
in the Middle East. So
right.
I started out gaining that interest of, I want to do something I've always been a dancer. And I happened to be walking through a Target one day and saw a DVD. And it was the only DVD on the shelf. And it was Learn the Belly Dance. And I was like, oh, that's cute. So I picked it up and I took it to the register and I bought it. And that was how I started. And starting in it that way led me down the path of who's teaching this in Michigan. And I found my dance mom. I found the first instructor, to whom I don't even talk about anymore because stayed with her for a minute. That did not work out so well. It led me on a journey. Found my dance mom and have been with her ever since. I call her, I'm her rebel daughter because I appear and then I disappear. And I'm like, okay. And she always knows I'm around and she'll be back to class. Yep, I'll appear and then I disappear. So over COVID, I had to take a journey of what's going on with me because I was like, I'm not dancing anymore. But as I'm saying, I'm not dancing anymore. I'm on eBay while other dancers are going, I'm not dancing anymore. I'm selling my costume that I just bought for little to nothing. I'm buying costumes. And I'm going, why am I buying costumes? I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And I'm buying costumes and I'm like, okay, shove you in the closet. But at the same time, I'm still dancing in the house. Dancing with different instructors who are teaching online classes from over in Egypt. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm going to repeat what your husband told you. Yes, he's right. Because I had an instructor say to me, why won't you let her out? And I was like, what? He said, there's this woman in you. He said, you will start dancing and I see her. And all of a sudden you yanked her back and you slammed the door and you close her off and I don't see her again. He was like, would you please let her out? I was like, okay, all right. It wasn't until I was like, okay, whatever. I thanked Mama Evelyn because on December the 25th, when we danced that day, something broke.
The door.
And I was like, I'm in here dancing all around. And I'm like, look at, and I'm just dancing all over the place.
Yeah, you did not stop at all.
We danced the whole hour.
Immersed. Yeah.
I danced that whole hour, didn't huff, didn't puff.
Mhm.
I'm tired. I knew something broke that day. Couple of days later, we did something else that you were like, come on, everybody get up and dance. And I'm in here, I'm just dancing. I'm supposed to be working. I was like, I slid over here. I was like, they're gonna have to take their calls later. And I knew, I was like, something broke. So I'm like, all right, you even said something. That is what I love about the Elizabeths, because we feed each other. You answered something for me that I didn't quite understand. And I was like, that's me. When you said you don't dance on command, I don't dance on command. I've had people say to me, would you perform? No. Why? Not feeling it. Because my dance is sacred to me. So I perform when I feel it. And if I feel it's the right space. Outside of that, I don't dance on command. And although I've been a part of a troupe, I dance better solo because I've performed and I've had a whole routine, a whole choreography that I've put together. I've gotten on stage and threw that choreography out because I feed off of my audience.
Yes.
And so whatever that music says and however it speaks is however I move. So it might be a portion of that choreography that's there, but the rest of it got thrown out because it becomes the feeding of each other's energy. And it's like playing ball. I toss my energy, they toss it back. And it becomes a constant feeding. So
sounds awesome.
Got her to come out.
I'm glad because I said that if we don't let these different components or pieces of us come out, if they're gonna explode and come out in an explosion, and people really, it doesn't really matter about the people, but then we're gonna be like, I tease and say that I have an energy that is mischievous, and that's the one who does the little things that, and then they somebody calls me out, and I'm like, but I didn't do that. This is the first thing I say. Yes, you did. A piece of you did, okay? It might not have been the whole you, but it was a piece of you. You were the one who delivered that message, how you delivered the message. Your eye, you did your face a certain way, but we have to at least get to know all of these components so that we can make sure that we're living and thriving because all of these components are here because that's what makes us special and unique. You got a little bit of your mom and daddy, maybe even a couple friends. I've noticed that even in my child, that my friends that I was just friends with, we didn't have any physical connections, but I see her expressing maybe something that they may say, and I'm like, wait a minute. You know, I see people that I have interacted with are showing up. And Bridget,
Yes.
I just want to also say that another one of Stephanie's mom, I don't know if she calls her one of her dance moms, was Sister Reva. I met
Yes.
Sister Reva at Fitness Works, and I went over there to her belly dance class, and all I know is I wanted my shimmy to look like hers because I love Reva's shimmy. And I said, wow, you can't get nobody else's shimmy. You know, you have to have your own, and just remember to keep them knees bent and you'll have a shimmy. But
Exactly.
Reva was an incredible, oh my gosh, she was an incredible teacher. I love Sister Reva. Yes,
We would
ma'am.
have people come into our class and they would go, I want to learn to dance how they're dancing. And our instructor would say, Aziza would say, they've been dancing for years. And sometimes they wouldn't come back, or they would come to the first class, they'd come to the second, and they would go, I had cramps in my toes driving home. And that comes with, and we would tell them, that comes with muscle memory. We've been doing this for 10 years, 12 years, and it's muscle memory. So there's stuff still in my muscle memory, but I know because I have taken pretty much almost the last 5 years off. I can tell in my ankles because I was used to standing on the balls of my feet for so long that I could do it. And I had extremely strong ankles and calves and all that. And now I have to work my way back up.
Right. The conditioning part. You gotta condition. Yes. Yes. That sounds amazing. Well, I don't know. I'm thinking, let me write down my ideas as you all are talking. I'm gonna write it. We're gonna have a show and tell day. We're gonna have a dress up day. We're gonna dress up like a supper club. I think I'd like to do that. I think that would be fun. We have any makeup artists in the room? We can do some makeup. We're gonna play dress up makeup. Okay, Danielle, write your name down. Listen, we're gonna pull out all, and if you don't like makeup, we can do some natural, I'm gonna see if Sister Nicole got some salts for that or whatever. I'm gonna get her to make a little dish. I'm seeing it. Yes, facials and makeup day. Okay, because we got to do our monthly that Sister Sheila said. You know, we enjoyed our little foot, not the little. I like to say little. It's cute, makes me laugh. Our foot bath. So we're gonna do something once a month to cater to those things. Bridget, thank you so much for bringing all of you. I know there's probably some more in there that do things. I know there are, and just tell them to jot down and say, hey, you didn't talk about me, but we're gonna have, let's see, it's 9:54. You didn't talk about me, so I want you to make sure that you jot them down so that they can be heard and seen. And anybody else, go talk to that little girl. I might call on you one day, Mama Evelyn. Don't look at me like that. Yeah, keep that mic on mute. Keep that mic on mute. You only have to say nothing. I like that. So, Mama Evelyn, listen here. You have been in here daily and all of that, and so you when you see those eyes. When you get a chance, you know, just put a little something together. You know, and I know you have many energies and personalities in there. I want you to, you know, come on and share. I saw it. I didn't come to the dance party, but I was at Spotlight and I saw Mama Evelyn up and moving and wiggling. I saw it. I saw her getting it. I said, "Oh, Mama Evelyn is come on now." So yeah, you know, just when you're ready. I don't want to. I'm a good pusher. I'm a good pusher and don't like to be pushed, but that's my skill. I'm a Taurus. That's my job. So I like to encourage. I'm going to turn my push into an encouragement. Because I'm the put. Listen, Curtis Mayfield, I'm your pusher. Bow, bow. You know, Curtis Mayfield. I just want to give some love to Curtis Mayfield. That's a bad brother. Is a bad brother. I'm not going to talk about people in the past tense. That brother, that was my first CD that I bought. We went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. And that was my first CD. Everybody had CDs, all kinds of CD. Mama had bought her first CD, and it was a Superfly album. 2 CDs in the case. Oh my goodness, I loved it. I loved it. Whew. So yes, okay, let me take a breath. I'm so excited. This was good. So yes, so Jackie, not intentional, but Egg McMahon was needed today. You see how that happened? I didn't read it. I didn't do it on purpose. I noticed that my phone ringer was all the way down. Now, why was it all the way down? Oh, from our meeting last night. That's what it was. So, thank you for your debut today.
Well, I think it's funny that I keep saying Egg McMahon, and I just happened to Google him just now, and I was like, oh my God, he was born in Detroit.
What?
Yes, and I didn't know that, and I kept saying, like, why I keep saying his name? Yeah, he was born in, so that was interesting.
And
So,
what's his birthday? Let me look at this man's birthday.
right. So I call like, well, you know, I live in New Jersey, New York area, but I feel like at this point I'm a member of Detroit.
That's right.
Yes, that's right.
You're in Detroit every day, Monday to Friday.
Ed McMahon was on it today.
Wow. His birthday was March 6th. He's a Pisces. Isn't that something?
Yeah, deep. And then also with another time I'll play this, but this woman named Terry Pollard. Has anybody ever heard of her? Terry Pollard. She's a vibraphonist, a female Black vibraphonist that's from Detroit, and she's amazing. If you look her up, but another time I could play a video. I have a short video of her. She was on she used to travel with this other vibraphonist named Terry Gibbs, and there's a great video of her on the. I think it's.
I was gonna say put it in the chat.
Oh, in the Tonight Show. Yeah, okay. I put the link of the video in the chat. But you got to get to the. You know what? If we have 1 minute, I could play like 1 minute of it. If you give me a co-host thing.
Okay.
Pass her the power.
Power.
Do we have to stop the recording?
I think it'd be okay. Just if not, I think the very
It's
worst.
just a minute. I think we have so many seconds.
We'll try. We'll see.
Yeah, we can stop the recording and stuff.
You
Because
know
I got one to close us out with as well. So,
you know, if you leave it running, I just want to do a test with it to see what was gonna like with it. If we can we leave it on for this?
Testing. 1, 2.
Just in case. Yeah. So let me know whenever you can give me the co-host or host.
Thank you, Bridget.
You're welcome.
You're
Thank
awesome.
you for
Appreciate it.
thank you, Mama Het, for putting me on the hot seat last night.
Yes, ma'am. I love it. Thank you for accepting the hot seat. Because it is a little chilly outside.
Let's see. Hi.
We would like to thank our special guest today, our special surprise guest, Terry Jean Pollard, for showing up in Detroit, her hometown. Yes, that was beautiful. We don't know all who have been out there, you all. You know, we gotta look up and discover and learn about all of these wonderful, wonderful people from our city that have come through our city. And we still need to make sure we take our history tour. I still want to do that field trip, that Elizabeth field trip of our history tour with Sister Sharon.
Yes.
She is a vast person with plenty information about our dear city.
Yeah.
All right, you all. We have come to that time. I just want to say, let me do my prayer right quick. I just want to say thank you for having sisters who will come and make sure that you all right and check on you when you need to be helped out a little bit here in this life. I'm appreciative of that. Thank you for people that get ideas and are full with ideas, and just Elizabeth and come on in this space with us. Thank you for Sister Teresa, Sister Armani, Sister Evelyn, Bridget, Juanita, Star, Danielle, Jackie. We got some people hidden in there today. Let me see these people. Where they at? Let me see who else said it. Everybody's present. Oh, everybody's showing. All right there. All right, good enough. Everybody's on screen. Thank you for letting everybody be on screen so we can see and have. I did see Juanita. Juanita, can we see an elbow or something? Oh, there you are. You all, look, I didn't even see you in there driving. There you go. Thank you for letting us see you today. I appreciate it. All right,
Thank you for calling us to be seen.
Yes, all right, good enough. Bridget.
Yes, ma'am.
Woo! You got me hungry. I'm ready to go put some clothes on and have me a nice little breakfast with a dress on or
I
something.
know.
Yeah. All
You
right.
know, we are so beautiful, each and every one of us. And clothes were created for us to be seen. And so shine and show your beautiful you, every inch of you.
And that being said, hug yourself. And hug the world and sprinkle goodness. And guess what?
What?
Yeah.
There.